Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back. Happy Thursday. Thank you for joining me here again on another Sorry Mom podcast episode. Just to go over, I guess, a couple things to start. I know last episode I said I had um a like contingency job acceptance hire. So yeah, after a week, I am still in the process of that. You would think that the amount I have to go through, the hoops I have to jump through for all this background shit that I was applying for a $500,000 a year salary as an FBI agent. Um, not quite sure why the process is so long, but we're still getting through it. Tomorrow I have my drug test, my fingerprinting. I have some more. Every day I get sent an email about documents to fill out. So, and like long ass documents. And some like where I've lived the past 10 years, you have to give every address where I worked. You have to give like and it's not just filling things out. I don't even know how to describe it. It's like an insane lengthy process that I have to go through for this. But whatever. Unemployment doesn't last forever. This is one of the only places that's not only given me an interview but even offered the contingency hire. So it's going to keep pushing through. Hope it works out. I did get another response from another company about an interview. So definitely going to keep them in mind, respond to them, see if I can get something even in the works as a backup plan because like I said, as we know throughout my life, things like to take really weird turns. So as much as I like to think my background in the past 10 years where I lived and worked and everything seems like it's pretty straightforward, something will fucking happen. So keep that second one in the back of of my mind, like I said. And I know I mentioned my guest appearance, my first guest appearance on a podcast. Unfortunately, my friend was sick. Actually, I'm kind of like prematurely calling her my friend because we haven't met yet, but we have talked on social media. And like I said, I love her content. She's extremely nice whenever we communicate. So I'm going to claim that she's my friend. And I know that once we do our thing together, we are going to be friends. Okay? Northern Kentucky and Cincinnati, we will be friends. And I'm excited for that. So, Labor Day weekend and everything coming up. And of course, like I said, with her not feeling good, that was postponed until next week. So, next week, hopefully, I'll have more details, behind the scenes stuff, things like that of me going as a guest on someone else's podcast. And we're keeping our fingers crossed that she would like to be a guest on this one as well. We get to hear her stories, whatever chaos that she would like to share. We openly welcome any chaotic stories as guests on this podcast. So I'm excited for that still. Looking forward to that. But yeah, this weekend is Labor Day weekend. I am heading home. It is my mom's birthday weekend. I was able to scrape up some unemployment money and get my mom some gifts. Another honestly huge reason of why one day I would like either this podcast to be successful or some fucking career success at some point is my parents deserve so much, and just as of right now I can only give them so little. I love the presents that I got my mom, but they're just, minor things. And one day I hope to not only give back everything they gave me times 10, but I would love to give them nicer things, nicer gifts. And I know monetary things like that aren't always important, but just to show that obviously I appreciate everything that they've done. So I am excited to go home. If you are familiar with the Detroit Royal Oak area, Royal Oak has this thing called Arts Beats and Eats that my mom absolutely loves going to. So my dad and I are taking her there. We will be going there. Hopefully I can like as I just said, I'm so thankful for all the things they've done and things like that. I'm hoping I can convince them to like buy me something artsy related for my apartment. Because I've been here like 9 months, maybe almost 10, or like at the end of my ninth month, maybe. And we are just lacking in the decoration field. But honestly, underestimated expenses with an apartment all on your own. But with that being said, I am still proud of myself for what I have been able to do. Moving down here, obviously, before even being unemployed, moving down here, as you guys know from the first episode, my financial issues and everything like that, I have no savings. I had no anything getting down here. I got a little sign-on bonus. I was promised a sign-on bonus, and they did not tell you that it was going to be commission tax. So the amount that they said they were going to give me was like, I got like a third of that. So that fucking sucked. That set me back a little bit. My apartment is just going to be a work in progress for a while. I had to renew my lease back in June. Um, so I do have this bitch for another year, so we do have plenty of time to get her all spruced up and fixed up. So I'm working on a couple things right now just to like get some things up on the walls. It's really the living room that I'm concerned with, but hopefully at something at Arts Beats and Eats for my kitchen, for my bathroom, something small, whatever. I'm gonna use my sales skills and my mischievous skills and see if I can get them to get me something for my apartment. It'll be my first time going to that event. My parents always go to it. They said it's a really good time, so I'm excited. Hopefully, can try some good food there as well. I love to eat, and I love to eat good food. So I'm excited for the arts and the beats and the eats. I'm excited for it all. A little bit of sad news as we're recapping everything. My mom called me at 7 a.m. this morning with some scary news that my poor little furry baby Elliot, my baby that I love with my entire heart and soul, that I wish was living down here with me, had to be rushed to the emergency vet. He was not doing well at all this morning. And I thought my mom was calling me because I always text my mom in the morning, like I'm up, headed to work. Use that in quotations for the moment because again, they don't know. And so I text her like, "Hey, up, getting ready." Usually end up just falling back asleep, but she called me, and I was like, "Oh, maybe she didn't get my text." So I answered the phone, and she's like, "Hey, just want to let you know, on my way to the emergency vet right now with Elliot. He's not doing good." And I was like, "Okay." So I'm literally packing my bags as we speak, and I will be headed home because no way in hell. But my mom did really good at just keeping me updated throughout the process of what happened to my poor little guy. He had to have blood work done, like a full panel done. He had to have a couple different heart tests done, x-rays done, and then a couple like other little lab work stuff. Which one small piece of good news is about little over 2 years ago now, we had to start Elliot's weight loss journey. Elliot is a chunky guy, but he just likes to vibe, you guys. Okay, cats can be chunky, and he's just a house cat. He's not some Bengal 13-pound little skinny cat that runs around. Elliot vibes, Elliot chills, and he just likes to do his thing. So yeah, sometimes he was gaining a little bit of weight there. And the original vet that I like normally take him to said that in order to avoid like diabetes and things like that, we had to start his weight loss journey. And cats can't lose too much weight at once, otherwise it affects their organs. So we had to do it slowly. He was almost nearing 25 pounds. You're gonna let that sink in if you can visualize that on a cat. And over the years, he would lose a pound or two and a pound or two. And last time I took him to the vet, he was around 21 pounds. This time he was almost under 20. So we're almost in the teens. Elliot is a skinny king. He's getting his body right, and he's almost in the teens. So that was one positive thing to know that we were still headed in the right direction for that. After the lab work and test results and everything like that came back, he's still not diabetic, which is the original reason we had to start the weight loss journey. Is the vet was like, pretty soon you're gonna have to be paying a lot for this medication because he will get diabetes, which can be reversed in cats. I did learn, but it's fucking expensive. And hello, don't have that right now. And even back then, I don't have diabetes money for cats. Um, so they said that They did, however, so the original reason my mom brought him in is he was extremely lethargic. He wasn't moving, wasn't doing anything. My mom said his mouth was just like weirdly open. He was just laying there, like breathing really, really deep and weird. And that's not like him. In the morning, despite his chunkiness, Elliot does get the zoomies and does get bursts of energy, and he does especially in the morning. He will run laps around the house. He's knocking shit over. He's coming up to you. He'll scream. He wants his breakfast, and that's what he's hyper for. And he does it every morning. So my mom said she already knew something was off when she didn't see him for a bit. She came in to pet him, and he's always purring, whether anytime. He always purrs when someone pets him. And my mom said she was petting him. He wasn't doing anything, and then he just kind of like went limp, and then his mouth was open, his breathing started to get weird, and it just nothing was like him. And obviously the signs had to be pretty large and pretty big for my mom to want to take him to the emergency vet. I'm super grateful that Elliot has my parents look after him right now because they love him absolutely as much as I do. And I, for one, would fucking cut off an arm if I needed to for Elliot. And my parents would do anything for him as well. So my mom was even hours late to work this morning because the emergency vet is 40 minutes away from our house. So she had to drive out there, obviously get all the tests done, wait for all the tests done, drive back, and then head to work. So she was even willing to do that for Elliot. And they couldn't find exactly what was wrong. Unfortunately, after all the tests, they just think he might have either severely pinched a nerve or severely injured himself. And they said that cats are just not expressive when they're hurt or injured. It's just kind of like the attitude side of cats. So he did get a shot of pain medication, and he is on two medications right now, my mom said. So I'll be home in time for the weekend to give him those. But one thing they did find is in his heart and in his lungs, he is showing like some progressive signs of old age. And when I heard that, honestly, like as my mom was texting me and like, okay, this blood work came back good, this came back good, it was like relieving my stress. Like, okay, this is good. They didn't see any signs of this. Like, this is good. But when the old age got mentioned, and Elliot is 7, and I have a very good understanding of the lifespan of a cat or of a dog or any house pet, and that he is 7 and he is getting up there, but he's still my little baby. So to hear that his heart and lungs showing signs of old age, I was like, because here's my thing, you guys, I need Elliot to outlive me. I I'm not going to be okay losing Elliot in any in any way, shape, or form. That is my baby. That is the first pet that I got on my own. I remember picking out Elliot in college. He was the last one of his litter. It was some random family in Kalamazoo that had a litter of barn cats that they were just trying to get rid of, and Elliot was the last one when I showed up, and they basically just gave me Elliot. I was so unprepared to have a cat. I literally drove right to PetSmart. I had a couple friends with me at the time who were visiting, and I just spontaneously was like, hey, I'm getting this cat today. Remember walking around PetSmart and like holding him, and he would be on like my shoulder. He was a bean. He was a tiny, tiny little guy, just so small, sitting on my shoulder. And as I'm like picking out his stuff for him, I was so excited to pick out his food dish, his litter box. I picked out a bed for him. He actually had multiple beds throughout his life, but he never slept in them. He always slept with me, always slept at the end of my bed. It was my first time even having a cat. I never grew up with cats. My mom had a cat growing up, but my dad did not. And I remember him being like, "You are not bringing that cat home. I can't even believe you got a cat." Da 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 da. And now they're like the closest. Elliot absolutely loves my dad, and my dad absolutely loves Elliot. They're too close of friends for me, I think. I hope Elliot still prefers me over him. But Elliot is so important to me in my life. I had to save up money to get him neutered, to get his all his vaccines done. And during my last year of college, going through that kind of like separation, sobriety little phase I was going through when I really couldn't go out much or do anything. It was me and Elliot in my room doing crafts, up late all night, every night. There was one time at a St. Patrick's Day party that we had at our college apartment that I thought, because we had, per usual, an insane amount of fucking people in our apartment, um, and the door of my room was open because people like to. My friends were allowed up there at any given point. It's the no names that were just wandering in and out that were upstairs that would piss me off. And my bedroom door was open, and the door, like our front door, was open, and I couldn't find Elliot, and I thought he got out, and I literally had to like stop the party. I was literally having a heart attack. Like, everybody, shut the fuck up! My cat's missing! Like, completely just raging around trying to look for him. I was livid. I was so scared that his ass got out. And he was under my bed the whole time, so it was embarrassing for me. But I would do it again for him. I would stop any party. I would kill someone. I would take someone out. I would do whatever I needed to do for that cat. I love him to death. He is my little child, my little baby. And anyone who has a pet or just, an animal lover in general, like the special place animals can hold in your heart. And I will be damaged and broken and done for if Elliot goes before I do. If we don't know, Elliot could live to be 80. We don't know, you guys. But I was also just sad thinking about it. Like, I wasn't there with him when he was at the emergency vet because, like, I'm his mom, and I feel like, he gets scared and probably wanted his mom there. I hate when they have to take him into the back room somewhere, whether at the normal vet or he has been to the emergency vet before. Um, I hate when they take him back there because I know he gets freaked out, but my mom said he got a good report. They said he was a very handsome kitty and had beautiful eyes. He has green eyes just like his mom. He got them from me because I birthed him. And that he was an extremely nice cat, and they loved the name Elliot, which who doesn't, because that's an adorable name for my little tuxedo baby. And when that time comes, this is also something that stresses me out about not having Elliot with me, is I live 5 hours away from home. If something were to happen, an emergency decision had to be made, and I have to say this quickly so I don't fucking start crying, but if I'm not there when Elliot goes, that's the final nail in the Sarah Muldrak coffin. Actually, if I can't be by Elliot's side whenever he chooses to depart, anyway, I'm moving on because I actually will start crying. But he's okay. My mom called when she got home from work, just to give me like an update, because obviously he had to be home for a little bit, by himself. Both my parents were at work, but he was doing a lot better. He was up, moving around. She said a little bit sleepy, just because unfortunately they like pumped him with pain medication, because they were like, if he did injure himself or like really severely pinch a nerve in terms of like muscles or things like that, they just wanted to make sure they covered their bases. So he had to get a shot and, like I said, some medication. But he was doing a lot better when my mom got home. I got to talk to him on the phone. I do talk to him on the phone every day because my mom always calls me when she gets home from work, and he meows through the phone at me, and we do talk every day. So I'm looking especially forward to going home tomorrow and giving him a hug and making sure that he's good, because I love him. I love my little baby. Um, Another little small piece of good news, you guys, because being a small, very small content creator, you have to celebrate the wins for everything. Otherwise, everything seems like a mountain, and it's a mountain that you're never going to be able to climb. And you start to lose hope, and you start to lose motivation, and the progress just goes downhill, and you kind of almost have to keep like this delusion in your head, of what success looks like through what you're trying to achieve. So celebrating small wins is important. So I do want to take a moment, special shout out. Thank you for all of you who have followed and supported my TikTok. We have officially reached over 1,000 followers. Not that I can really do anything with that yet in terms of monetary value. You do have to get to 10,000 to be able to monetize off of TikTok a little bit. After 1,000 followers, you can do the pilot program, which is when you can like sell products from the TikTok shop. I just don't want to take that route with my podcast page, because obviously I'm branding myself in the podcast, and I don't want my podcast page to be flooded with me selling random products for like $2 commission. As much as I love and need the money, that would be great. But I don't want that image for my podcast. So we're riding it out till the 10,000, but 1,000 followers was a huge goal marker for me. So I'm extremely grateful and appreciative of that. Any love and support on there is amazing. I hope they don't end up selling TikTok because I've been hearing that rumor again that in September it's done for. Whatever, it's always done for. I think we've heard this like 4 times now this year. So it'll be my luck though that I'll hit like 10,000 in the next couple months and they end up selling TikTok and no one can use TikTok. Like that that would literally be the story of my life. But for now we're just grateful. We're just grateful for that amount. I had a whole thing that I was going to talk about today in terms of lying. Because with strict parents, you know the saying, strict parents create sneaky kids. I had this whole segment I was going to do about kind of the mental toll it takes on yourself when you have to repeatedly lie to adults, and just kind of the chaos that causes. But because it's a little bit of a longer segment, I think I'm going to save that till next week, just because of all the things that kind of popped up today and the things I talked about right now just took up a chunk of time. So one thing I did want to talk about in this episode is my 27-year quarter life crisis. It may be midlife crisis. Who the fuck knows how long we're gonna live? I don't know, but I had a crisis now at 27. I've had one at 26. I had one at 25. I think it's very, very difficult for my brain to wrap around the concept that I'm not 21, 22 years old still. And this has extremely come out in terms of being a content creator because, you know, you see these content creators making millions that are 18, 19, 20 years old, and it makes you feel like you missed the boat. Like, fuck, like, oh my fucking God, like, I'm so far behind. Or I saw a 25-year-old girl post the other day, like, 25 years old and this is already over. I'm already out of the age now to do this, but now, like, I'm trying to get into this. And I'm like, 25? 25 is out of the age for that? I'm just starting and I'm 27. And the other reason I bring this up is not in terms of content creation, but in terms of like life in general. I always feel like I am running out of time. 27 doesn't seem young to me, and you ask any adult and they would say the opposite, but to me, I feel like I'm what's already happened is done and nothing new can happen is sometimes kind of like the bad mindset I can get myself into. And the reason I brought this up is obviously on unemployment, there are a couple different programs you can apply for. I tried applying for the SNAP benefits to help out with my groceries because obviously what I get on unemployment, like I said before, is not even really the salary of a job. So I was like, you know what? If I can apply for any sort of assistance or aid this last month or two that I'm on it, it would be a great help. And I was on the phone with the guy from the state of Kentucky. You have to go through like this phone interview process to get these benefits. And obviously I have to confirm my name, my social security number, and then my birthday. And when I read off my birthday, and he was so cute, an older Kentucky man with his southern Kentucky accent. And when I read my birthday, he was like, "Oh my God, 27 years old. What I would give to be 27 again." He's like, "Man, oh man." And then he kind of just went on like this little rant about it, and I was like, "You know, my parents say the same thing, but to me I feel so old, haha, like just as a joke." And his little speech he gave me after he said that, like, I'm like, "Why am I fucking crying on like a SNAP benefit phone call right now?" Like, he just made me so emotional. He was just like, you know, the things I can't do now that I could do then. He was like, just make sure you're not taking things for granted. Like, I would give anything to be that age again. He's like, I love my wife, I love my kids, but to go back in time and to be able to do all this over again and to be able to have new experiences and to be that person that I was at 27 again. And I think that conversation almost like helped me like put things into a little bit of a different perspective, because obviously our parents and family tell us all the time like, you're so young. And for a lot of things I think we just kind of brush our parents off. Like any life lesson they try to tell us, we're like no, and then we go and do something and we're like, fuck, they were right. sort of instance, and I feel like this is the same. Like my parents tell me all the time, like, you're so young, you're so young. It just doesn't set in. But to have this older gentleman who doesn't even know me on the phone tell me how emotional that he is, that he wishes he could be my age again. And I just and it's hard, I think, with where I'm at in my life right now to appreciate being young, because I feel like I have messed up a lot in my 20s and I have done a lot of bad things in my 20s. In the 20s is like you're supposed to be like your prime years. You know, there's so much you can do. You can finally drink, you can do this. You're either in college or getting out of college, or you're able to just do things on your own now. You're out living on your own. Like the youngest your body can be while legally being able to do all these things is like the 20s are your prime. And I feel like, wow, I have 3 years left of that. And I feel like I have fucking done nothing. And I think that kind of mentality ends up really just fucking with me sometimes. Like, in 3 years I'll be 30, and what do I have to show for that? And the reason I bring up that it's a tough mindset to be in this situation right now is because I don't have the funds to do things. I don't have the funds to go to fucking Cancun for a week and have on this little bikini up and down the beach, drinking, taking these pictures and enjoying this, going parasailing, doing that. I don't have the funds to go backpacking through Europe that I thought I would be doing in my later 20s when I was like in my teens. Like, oh, that's such a bucket list item to do that. I feel like I can't, I don't have the funds to do that. I don't have the funds to half the time go out of state unless I'm driving to Ohio, which is 10 minutes from me. So it just feels like, oh my God, like, yeah, I'm 27. I'm grateful to be where I'm at right now. I'm grateful to be the age where I'm at, but I feel like I can't do anything, and it makes it feel like I'm wasting my 20s, which is, I think, my biggest battle is feeling that I'm wasting it. And it's hard to get out of that negative mindset, really, to be like, like, no, you aren't, like, what I've done isn't wasteful. I still have things to show for my 20s. I do have a bachelor's degree. I have 5 years that I spent at a university learning all types of life lessons. I have gotten to go on some amazing vacations. I've gotten to study abroad. I've been out of the country multiple times. I've met a lot of amazing people, a lot of amazing people. Um, and I've, if you look through my camera roll, it would tell a different story. You would think I would think differently. But I don't know. It's hard to get out of that frame of like, okay, in a couple years I enter my 30s, and then in terms of how the world looks at that, it's like done. I should be married by now. I should have kids by now. I should have a stable career. I should not have $3 in my bank account. I should have more things crossed off my bucket list. And I think it just stresses me out a lot of the times that I don't, and that I'm not as far as I want it to be. But I think a big thing that keeps me pushing is just everything happens for a reason. That is a huge mantra in my life. And it has worked out more than once to proven to be true that everything happens for a reason. And I just continue to hope that's the case. The other thing is, in terms of content creating and where I wanted to be in life by 27, and just life in general, things change by the fucking hour. Things happen so quick. So in terms of your life, 3 years might seem super short, but when you look at things, I could be living a different life next week, next month, next year. Um, in terms of job, in terms of education, in terms of this podcast, in terms of anything, things can take such a quick turn. And I think if you are someone venturing out in any sort of small business, content creating, self branding, anything that you're doing, I think that that's an extremely important lesson to remember, is that you just have to keep pushing and have to keep going, because you don't know when that life changing moment will happen. Same in your day to day life. You don't know who you're going to see out and about, what you're going to encounter, and just things could take a turn really, really quick. And I just have to remember that, I have to be thankful and grateful and appreciative for every life experience that I've had, everything that I've done, everything that I've been through. And just remember that my 20s have not been wasted. My 20s maybe just were a little bit different, little bit more difficult than other people in their 20s. A little bit different of a path, I think, is the best way to put it. Through other people, you see people on social media who do have kids, who are getting married, who are going on these trips, and it's just a self reminder, like, that's their path. Maybe that's not my path. Maybe my path is going to be something so different, something so fitting for me, and something that works so much better for what I want out of life. And just because I'm not following the norms of what everyone else is doing doesn't mean that I'm wasting my 20s. And who fucking knows? Maybe if something doesn't change within 3 years, maybe my 30s are are gonna be my prime, and that's when I live my life. I'm hoping for sooner rather than later, though. I would love for my life to change next month, next week, tonight. But everything happens for a reason. Again, like I said. And like I also said, this episode was going to be about like funnier stories of like lying and how I've had to lie my way out of situations, and kind of the mental long-term effects lying has when you have strict parents. So I didn't necessarily mean for the combination of Elliot and me talking about being 27 to be more of like a downer episode. But because I use this podcast as just like my life blog, my life story, and everything, I think it's always important just to kind of have those episodes to just talk about like what I'm currently feeling. And hopefully, if someone anyone is like feeling the same way, that hopefully something I said, sticks with it. Everyone's on their own path. You don't have to follow what everyone else is doing to be considered the quote right thing to do in your 20s or your 30s or your 40s or your teens, however old you are listening to this. I hope no one under 18. If you are under 18, please use every episode of mine of what not to do in a lot of situations. But yeah, other than that, that's just kind of like my pushing point right now, is that, holding on to that things will take a turn soon, and that my 20s were not wasted. As much as I like to mope around sometimes and be like, fuck this, I wasted my 20s, I'm 27 with nothing. No, I'm 27 with a lot that I should be thankful and grateful for. So I hope you guys are too. Like I said, I will be heading home this weekend, see my family. Excited to see my mom for her birthday, and of course to give baby Elliot a little kiss on the head and the biggest hug of my life. I can't wait to squeeze his little body, his chunky body. I shouldn't say little body. But I hope you guys get to do something fun and exciting this weekend too. We have the guest appearance coming up next week that I'm excited for. And then the episode after that, depending on kind of how that goes next week with being a guest, and if she wants to guest star. If she's not on as a guest next week, I definitely will do the lying recap of some of the bullshit things I've had to come up with extreme lies to get out of. If not, though, that'll be the week after. And of course, per usual, per always, per usual and always, I thank you so much for listening. Thank you for your support across any social media platform. Thank you for texting me. Thank you for calling me. Showing your support and love in any way, shape, or form is always means the world to me, more than I can say in every podcast episode. So I appreciate that. Like I said, have a good weekend. Have a fun weekend. Have a safe weekend. And I will see you here same time, same place next week, ladies and gentlemen. Mwah.